It's amazing how sharp he is on bees. I would love to just spend like a month hanging out with him. But yeah, it's pretty incredible. Next topic real quick is, I had Jenna from the state of Utah Department of Ag and Food come out and inspect all my used equipment. Cause I've got all this equipment stored from last year. And, I've got 250 frames that she went through. And boxes and everything. We got the WBA equipment, had her inspect all of it. She came out and looked at every frame, which is just incredible. It's incredible to me that they're willing to do this. This is a free service. All you gotta do is get a hold of them and ask them to come do it. And she would look at any of the brood frames with a UV light, and anything that showed up. Now, nectar can show up in there, and it'll reflect back with the UV light. And but also foul brood will show up the same way. And so what we did, we went through every frame, anything that showed up, she would take a Q-tip, take a sample of it, put it in a little bag. She took it back to the lab because she's the person that runs the lab for the state of Utah and does a DNA check on it. And so out of the 250, I had 8 frames that were in question. And so we set those aside, we marked the number on all of them. And then it was less than a week later, she sent the test results back to me. It's hard to tell, but the American foul brood, everything was negative. European foul brood, and 2 that showed positive. And luckily with European foul brood, if you have a positive one, you can just throw it away. It's not like the American foul brood where you have to burn things and destroy it. So she just told me, just throw it away. And they're more than willing to come out there. Jenna and Joey are the 2 inspectors. They'll come out, the same people that come out and inspect your hives. But I really recommend this if you've got things in storage. And this is for contact info. And they'll just jump right on it. I was shocked. And she came out and it only took her a couple hours. She's pretty quick going through things. And I've got things pretty organized in boxes with, totes with labels on each one. Well, that would be good. But yeah, so I would recommend everybody doing that with your equipment before you get into the next couple of weeks. When we're gonna start getting packages and nooks and all that, so.
Did you say how much that cost?
It's not charging.
You guys all paid for it, and I appreciate that. Your tax dollars pay for it. It's no cost.
And they're very good to work with.
They are,
Yeah.
yeah. And, yeah, she's awesome. Kathy made her a quilt, so. I don't know if we could legally do that with a government employee, but. So we can pay her off. But yeah, I highly recommend doing that. Cause it's just a great peace of mind to know I'm not gonna infect this $150 package that I just bought and kill them. So. Okay, anybody that came in late?
One more question, Walt.
Sure.
So I only have 2 hives. Would
Yeah.
that even be worth?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. If you've got, especially if you had one die over the winter, yeah, anything you've got extra, just have them come out and, yeah, and
They come out and check it and do it.
They'll do it for one hive, yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
don't have a lot of hives and frames in storage to do it. If you have a hive die over the winter, it's probably a good thing to have them come out and inspect it, make sure that, it's a die of mites and not a outbreak, right?
anybody allergic to?
Because you're in the snowstorm, right?
Yeah.
Just.
at the Almond presentation.
I think it's not funny. I
And if you're on Zoom, this is why you come to the meetings.
What's in that box though?
So we need to call everybody, we thought.
Texas.
Thanks for the film.
Well, how many different kinds of almonds are there? I know there's like Marcona almonds and there's all almonds. Okay, did they tell you like how many?
Costco has chocolate.
Yeah. Can they?
Now, those things are special. Okay.
Did they say how many different varieties of almond trees are out there?
You may have. It was 8 hours of them talking
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
I took as many notes as I could, because I knew I wanted to make a presentation. Okay. All right, and those that came in late, our speaker tonight unfortunately had a medical emergency, so she's not able to come. So that's why we're just kind of faking it.
Yes. You know, hopefully we can get her, because I was looking forward to this. You're gonna talk about the plants and everything. So, and she's based in Sandy, so hopefully we can get her again. Next month, got, Rob coming. He wrote the 5 insects and their impact on human history. I don't know if he's coming or if he's by Zoom, but either way. He's scheduled to be our speaker next month. Now, we still have a couple of months that we need speakers, don't we?
Yeah, I think August and I can't remember, maybe October or something, but
Okay.
yeah, so if there's some of you guys, like if you've read an ebook or you, like, one of the ones I just recently read was The New Honey Revolution. It's by an MD who believes that everybody should be eating 5 tablespoons of honey a day, 2 before bedtime. And that, I mean, he's got case after case after case of where it lowered, they didn't do anything else, they took no other meds, lowered triglycerides, it improved REM sleep, like it did all this kind of crazy stuff. So just an aside, my husband is a terrible sleeper. He gets like 30 minutes of REM sleep a night. He started taking 2 tablespoons of my honey at bed every night before he went to bed, goes to bed. And he's up to 121 minutes of REM sleep a night now. And it has to do with how the fuel that your brain needs to get good rest. And so if you're in a fasting state and your liver produces glucose, or, you know, glycogen turns it into glucose for your brain to function. But if you actually have 2 tablespoons of honey, because of the makeup of honey, it keeps your blood sugar more stable overnight and it quiets your liver down. And then it allows your brain to get into a deeper like level of, like, or your body to get into a deeper level of sleep. Which I thought, the book is really interesting. So that, like, that's one of the things like I'm looking. So if you find a book, you hear somebody at another beach club or something, you go to Wyoming Beach College, or, you know, you see something, you're like, hey, I'd like to have a speaker, let us know, because we'll reach out to them and see if we can't get them scheduled to come in for a meeting.
So is that right at bedtime or a half hour before or anything?
He just takes it right before he goes to bed, comes back and brushes his teeth and goes to bed.
All of us that are fat sleepers are interested.
He's diabetic now, so he sleeps.
Yeah. Because that's what I was like, you have a history of diabetes in your family, you might not want to do that. All the studies in this book too looked at like blood sugar levels, it lowered your A1C, which is your diabetes marker.
Wow.
So it also lowered it, it's called The New Honey Revolution. He's written like 2 or 3 medical books on bee products and medicine, and looked at history, and then this is more modern, and it's fascinating. It's a little book.
My husband went to the doctor because he's had like the flu or something for 11 days, he finally went. And I think he wanted an antibiotic, and the doctor said 2 things: stop working 80 hours a week, especially when you're sick. And have warm water with honey morning and night and throughout the day. And I was like, I love you.
I think lemon water
Yeah.
with honey in the mornings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Tanner is now our new beekeeper on the board. So we added him. If anybody needs mentoring, Jen can help you out on that. Fill out the forms.
You're doing
Find somebody. Or if you want to be a mentor, or you want to be a
Yeah.
mentee.
need
We
people on
always
West
need
Valley.
mentors, yeah.
So how do we fill out the form? What do we need to do?
I don't even know.
Okay,
All I do is email them.
okay.
It's not, all that on, so.
Yeah.
Mike,
What I do is I-
Yeah, you can email, you can just email me. Okay. What was your name?
Uh,
Sorry. Did you email me?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
you sent me to for the form.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, so on our Facebook page, there is a mentor mentee Google form you can fill out. And once it's filled out, then you guys can see that, or you can email Jen and then she'll get you matched up. But we need those mentors for our new mentees. So if you, you know, have a couple hours, you have some time spent on the phone, maybe you have some time to go out and help people visit their hive or have them over to visit your hive. I've had several calls on the Beeline lately about people who want these, but they aren't ready yet, and they just like to follow somebody around this year and kind of learn. And that's how, Sandeep started with, Rosemary. He watched her the whole first year, and then he got his own hive last year, or year before, he's done really well, yeah. So, yeah, so it's a good opportunity if you want to be a mentor, or you need a mentor, you want to be a mentee. Just sign up and we'll get you matched up.
and has everybody looked at our new website? Pretty awesome. We're getting on that. It's actually got pretty much up-to-date information.
Yeah. We haven't had a website for so long, and Katara has spent hours and hours and hours updating our website for us, so she's done a great job.
She has. I guess we're on Instagram now, or? is it
Yeah, I haven't looked at Instagram, but yeah, Liz thought we needed an Instagram page, so Liz has started up our Instagram page for us at Beekeepers. And so if you have content, if you have pictures of your hives, or you've done a little thing that you wanna put it up on our Instagram page, just, I don't know, I guess you just send it to, send a message to @Beekeepers on Instagram, and then she'll post it.
Now, we still need 2 volunteers for the state fair coordination team. And, I'm not sure what all that involves. What do they do?
In July, there'll be a finance sheet posted, and we try to contact all of our local beekeeping associations. So Davis and Weaver and, each of them, try to get volunteers. We have 66 shifts, and we require 2 volunteers per shift. We cannot leave the observation by unattended, so we do have to have people there. Because we are responsible for that part.
And if you're old, they'll come pick you up, take you to the fair.
That's good. A lot of us will sign up for that.
Fair pay, we've been able to finagle with the fair to get free parking, and every year we fight, but so far we've been winning. The shifts are, about 4 hours, which actually goes very fast. And we just answer a lot of questions and point out the queen. We've asked Kevin to mark her and lean on
Yeah.
here, so she'll be a lot than white or whatever she,
Yeah.
was wiping off last year. So we've asked to mark her in something that will really be bright, like a pink or.
What color is our pins? Well, green is the color this year.
Yeah.
With the forest green.
But he had an old queen in there that was
Just barely had it out on her anymore.
very heavy on her.
Can we get like a little mechanical queen and just?
Remote control.
One of the things that I'm working on, I don't know that you know this, is to see, I'm working with UTA to see if we can get bus or tracks passes. For fair volunteers, because the track station runs right by the gate that you need to get off of to go in.
Yeah.
To the fair, and so if we can get everybody a tracks pass, then you don't have to worry about finding parking. I know last year, it was a nightmare, and if you work a weekend shift, they have concerts on the weekends, so you have to go early in order to get parking. So we're trying to make it easier to have parking and to get, if you wanna take tracks and get off right there. We're just trying to make it a lot easier for volunteers this year, so.
It's not hard.
It's not hard.
It's a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
It's a shift, and you know more than you think you know.
Yeah.
Really.
And
And
you
you're
really don't
talking
have to know
kids.
anything, you can just greet people
You
and
can
hand
make
out.
them stuff.
Children's materials that we always order from, the Honeybee Healthy Program. And so we have handouts for school kids. The shifts on their weekdays, they do start at, I think the ones, they're at 9, because they bus the kids in for free. And you want to be able to talk to kids, and they actually have specific things they have to look at the fair. But it's a lot of fun to talk to them. They
It
can
is.
find a clean classroom and it's amazing.
So we need your help. And, so today I spent 4 hours at the aquarium. And I ended up talking to 407 kids. They made me keep track a little quicker. So 407 kids in 4 hours. And so there's no telling what diseases I have now. This kid right here is spitting in your face. You talk. But we're doing, we're signed up for another one on April 13th. If nobody can help me, I'll do it, but we also need help May 18th and 19th. Is the Ladybug, is that?
Yeah, the Ladybug Festival is down at Daybreak. And it's a festival that they do for the families that live at Daybreak. It's a really fun time. I've done it the last couple of years.
And today was great talking with all these little kids. And, you know, the aquarium has the live hive right there, so you're just set up right there talking with them and using the same stuff we do at the state fair with our little pictures and handouts and everything. There's also now this is on, that's a Saturday. This one's on a Monday. This is a Thursday, Friday. So on a Monday or Saturday, Sunday. On a Monday, we need help at the World Bee Day at the Discovery Gateway. So
Is
if
that
anybody
the
can,
20th of May?
20th,
Okay, that Nick just texted me about that. Okay.
Yeah.
We said, make sure you talk about that.
yep,
Did you find out the time?
talking about it, Nick. So, yeah, I'm not sure. Did you say the time?
3 to 6 or 7 p.m.
Okay. And like somebody said, you know a lot more than you think you do. You know, even if you're a new beekeeper, if you've done it a little bit.
If you
Yeah.
get stung, you know a lot.
Yeah.
Do you know the dates, of the state fair yet? September
It's
something?
always the first Monday after Labor Day in September, and it runs exactly 10 days. So yeah, I can find that.
When are you going to start signing up slots?
We start in the 1st of July, usually.
So you'll be able to sign up at the meeting here,
We do it online.
online, okay.
If you
Yeah,
go
that's what I
online,
did.
you can have.
That's where I did it last year, so.
So the fair will start the 9th and will go through the,
No, this year it's the 5th to the 15th.
on Thursday, that's right.
Yeah, the 5th to the 15th of September this year.
That's 10 days.
And you can work as many shifts as you want to work. We could do shirts again. So last year we had a little contest for a shirt design and then we made shirts for the volunteers. And so we've talked about doing that every year. So it's just kind of a neat new thing, for the fair and everybody gets a t-shirt for volunteering. So yeah, we'll have to put that out and see if we can get another new design.
I worked the Saturday and Sunday shift back to back. I was surprised how fast the time went.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of, it's pretty busy on the weekend and
A lot of
time will
families.
go fast.
Yeah.
Okay, WBA membership, $20 per family per year. Make sure you fill out the membership form if you are not a member yet. You can do Venmo, PayPal, Zelle, or cash.
Okay.
Bitcoin for sliding Michael. We've got our Instagram, our website, Facebook. So
posted a lot of good things on all these, so take a look at them. Okay, mentoring, Jen, maybe you can talk a little bit if you want.
I think we already did.
Okay.
Is there more to say? Do you
Okay.
have any questions? Does everybody know where the sheet is?
On Facebook.
It's on the Facebook
Top of
page,
it,
at the
yeah.
top of the Facebook page, it's pinned to the featured posts on our Facebook page, the form is. If you can't find it, just email them.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, these are things that Nicole put together for us. She's in California right now. But we've got mini conferences offered once a week. I'm not familiar with these. Anybody done these?
I've done the Western Agricultural Society, it's done once a month.
Mhm.
Like, what did you want?
Membership, $30 per
Yeah,
family.
a year,
Yeah.
they're good conferences. They're like on the Thursday nights.
So with that membership, do you get the magazines free or no?
Hopefully it's that correct.
It's just more informative. Okay, bee culture. These are the codes if you want a discount for the bee culture magazine.
Great time.
Is it? I haven't gotten any of the magazines yet.
Please turn up.
I've been taking that one for a couple of years.
American Bee Journal is good.
It's good as well. You can get that one digitally, both of them actually.
Oh, really? You go back to them.
Can we maybe contact them and see if we subscribe as WBA, can we then post it on our webpage?
That would be. Do you think our secretary?
I'd be happy to-
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we can do that.
What's your job?
He's forever.
Treasurer. I think it's a great job for treasurer. Okay, is everybody registered the lines for this year? There's just a piece of cake to do, right?
I would say they have finally updated their website, so it's like mobile friendly, and I didn't have any trouble at all registering this year. Every year before now, I struggle. I did it the other night and it went, "Phew."
Maybe I'll try.
Because it's been
I just gave up.
the old system trying to feed to the new system.
Yeah.
And like I said last month, I just got a new beekeeper license number, because I tried to do
Oh,
it.
that's what I did too. I couldn't
Switch
get
it
it
over.
correct. Yeah, no license.
Oh.
With switch overs and this, yeah, just issued me a new one. Okay, April 16th, the native bee class with Joe Wilson. Is this Dr. Joe Wilson? Talked to us a few months ago. So that's at Wheeler Historic Farm, 6:30 to 8:30, April 16th. So $5. Everybody that was here, he's very knowledgeable. And likes all sorts of bees, not just honeybees.
I think he likes other bees.
He likes
better.
every bee better because they're native form. Yeah. Makes you feel guilty about what you do with the ground in your yard. Now Jerry's got just an awesome setup in his backyard. He's got mulch and he's gonna make all these native ground dwelling bees. So
About
you're gonna
that.
have a load up in there.
My son brought me a pickup load of mulch, and my garden now has 8 foot. I don't know how I'm gonna get anything to grow that.
Yeah, the topsoil is really deep.
Is that link on the website or Facebook or anything?
I don't know if we have that up or not. We probably have to put it out.
We're recording the Zoom, so that gets posted to work.
YouTube. So all of our meetings will now go up on our YouTube channel, which is the WhatsApp Beekeepers YouTube channel. So if you ever want to go back and watch a meeting, they'll be on our YouTube channel. We finally have some people who are a little tech savvy.
Okay, so April 16th, the native bee class, the 18th, the Ladybug Festival, the Bug Fest. Me and Kathy did that last year. That was pretty
That was
fun.
fun, yeah.
With kids coming in. It was a lot busier at the aquarium than it was at the Bug Fest. Let's see. Utah State Fair and then our fall banquet. And if you know of any businesses that want to donate things for the fall banquet, let us know. And we're trying to,
You can go ahead and ask them for it now,
yeah,
and we'll take it and store it until it's time for the fall banquet, like if you know somebody that does art. Or pottery, it doesn't have to be bee themed, it can just be something really cool. Last year, one of the biggest things that auctioned off was a custom wood bench that Sandeep made. It was just a full small bench, and it went for quite a bit of money, that and a quilt. And Rosemary's made a quilt for us before. So, yeah, if you really, like, if you know somebody, you do something, like, think about it now. Donate, then the money from the banquet goes to help fund speakers, and then the hive equipment here and bees here, and, all that kind of stuff at the club.
okay, our youth beekeeper program, this is our first year with it. We did get 2 high school students and 2 middle school students signed up. And we chose 1 of each. And, so we'll now give them a hive with 2 deeps, and a super, the lids, and we're getting them a full suit, a smoker, and a hive tool. And I'm gonna be mentoring the one up in Layton. It's the middle school kid up in Layton. Julie's gonna mentor the
High schooler.
high school in Draper.
And if anybody wants to help, if you're in or near Draper and you wanna come help, she's a real sweet kid. She showed up at my house to buy honey last year. And she said, "Can I see your bees?" I was like, "Sure, come on." So, and I told her, I said, "You can help me anytime you want." She said, "Oh, I'd love to have my own hive." So as soon as the youth beekeeper program opened up, I sent her the application. I'm like, "You should apply. If you want your own bees, this is a great time to do it." So she did, and she went like above and beyond on her, like for some of these kids, I don't know, it was a little stressful. She went above and beyond on her, she got letters of recommendation she didn't need, she wrote amazing essays, that she didn't really, I mean, like, she was like, "I want this." Yeah, she's ready, so.
So the rules of this is they'll do it for a year. If they maintain it for that year, and then they get to keep everything. If they quit halfway through and say this is too much for them, then we take everything back and try to find a new kid to do it. But and they also will be doing presentations for some of our meetings that may be by Zoom. The little middle school kid that I've got can't speak in front of groups. He's got
Autism or
Yes,
selective mutism, yeah.
yes, selective mutism. And so he freezes up. So what I'm planning to do with him is just video his presentation and we'll display it. And so he doesn't have to worry about that. Oh, here we go.
There they are.
Andrew and Bell. Gonna take over, Judy?
What is it? No, you can do this.
Okay, so everybody knows the bees are getting active. And, before you know it, you're gonna be swarming. Looking at one of Julie's hives the other day, 10 frames are full. And they're busy, they're ready to swarm. So yeah, and of course, all the hives are coming back from the almond groves in California, so we're gonna start seeing our packages and nukes coming out.
There's always some swarms off of those, so if you know a commercial beekeeper and you know where their yards are, it's always good to put a trap out near their yard. They put traps out too, but you know, you just happen to hang one in a tree in there.
Follow Brick and Mortar.
The earliest we've ever had a swarm since I've been doing the swarm coordination is April the 8th. So we're coming up on that. So just know, I mean, if the weather stays like this, we might not, but then again, we might, because they've all built up so much inside. Like I was telling you, the one Peter did, it had queen cells in it, but they didn't split it that day because they knew the weather was gonna be bad, and they were like, you know, so.
Did yours have queen cells?
We didn't get down. He got in it for me because I was out of town.
They didn't. Didn't pull.
Yeah, you can pull them off.
We were just feeding them and.
We had one night that 14 frames.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're all flying now, they're starting to, we're getting blooms and they, looking at my hive. The one hive I've got in the backyard, they're bringing in yellow and orange pollen, so they're finding something.
So that's what we're looking for, queen cells, we've got a high.
I would love these, if you have drones, so you wanna look for drone cells and drones on the frames, like patch drones on the frames, if you've got that, now they won't mate with the drones in their own hive. But that's a sign that those conditions are right in the area, that somebody else that has bees probably has drones. So if you've got drones hatching, and you've got, a box or two that's full of bees, yeah, you need to keep an eye on those. And they'll make queen cells in a day or two. They can, so once they decide, you don't have much time to make choices, so.
So that's one trust is.
So swarm commander, you can put in there, but you don't need a lot, just like a little bit on a cotton ball or a toothpick, or a Q-tip is a lot. They love old brood comb. So if you've got an old brood comb, and I don't know what kind of swarm trap you're using, but some of the swarm traps like we built here last year, they hang actually a frame in. So get a really old brood comb frame and hang it in there, because they do like the scent of the old brood comb.
Is that like, what's
Not typically this time of year.
Then lemongrass.
Yeah, lemongrass oil works. So if you don't have swarm commander can be kind of expensive, but lemongrass oil, just again, just a little drip on a Q-tip in the bottom of it. Yeah, any other suggestions?
Yeah, one of the things I like is if you have a queen that you have to cull, you have a queen's body, you put it into some alcohol and make a tincture. So kind of collect your queens over the years, and that tincture will bring them over instantly.
Really?
Yeah, I forgot about that. Thanks for reminding me of that.
and it's like you bang on shots and pins, they just want to sell them.
Oh, yeah, they call it tanging. Yeah, they call it tanging. So if your bees happen to swarm and you see them, they say, I haven't tried it, if you go out with like two metal pans and bang them together, that the vibrations and the sound cause the bees to settle right down pretty quickly into a tree, and then you'll be able to go catch them before they get too far away. You don't know if it works or not.
Crazy bee lady in the background.
It used to be that's what, people have the kids keep an eye on, if the bees start swarming, then you send the kids out, then they bang two pens.
No. Didn't hear that. I thought you were talking about hitting your kid.
Glad about that much.
Okay, who's feeding their bees right now? Sugar water. Okay. I've still got candy boards on mine, because I keep trying to wait for it to heat up, and so it doesn't freeze. I'm in Kaysville. We're still getting freezing nights, and I don't want to get them wet, so. But yeah, you can do the bags, of course. Especially if you got candy boards, you can lay the Ziploc bag with sugar water on there, just cut a slit on it. That way it's not dripping on. So. Okay, mine have on top, because in the winter time, of course, they're gonna move.
But if
move up.
they don't have any nonsense, like it's.
They're probably in some box.
It's good to be on top because the bees can get to it.
And you really think, I'm stuck on this feed. I don't know, I mean, I don't know what I'm doing still, but I just want them to kind of figure it out.
A lot
But
of people do.
is that?
Yeah. Mine, I've given them candy boards, they haven't eaten that much.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot of honey.
Yeah,
That's what I looked, I see a lot of honey, and I'm like, well, I guess
Yeah.
I don't need to feed them.
If you're leaving them without honey, you probably don't need to feed them.
Yeah.
That's the problem, is if they run out of honey, then you're probably.
Right.
And this is the time of year that they will starve to death. So
Yeah.
as they get more active on warm days, then they consume more of the honey that's left in the hive. And they start consuming more of a candy board or anything you've got. So if you aren't keeping an eye on them, they'll go from thriving to starve to death in a week, if you're not careful.
And if you wanted to be building up, so you can make divides. Whether like now, in the next few days, if you have syrup on the hive that they can get to, a bucket. Then the queen will continue to lay, but if there's no nectar coming in, she'll shut off.
So feeding them stimulates the queen to
Yeah,
continue to lay,
yeah.
okay?
Yeah, and then pollen patterns.
Yeah.
For feeding the sugar water, are you concerned about humidity levels in the hive?
Not if they can air it out on decent days. In the winter, we have a problem, but now,
Yeah.
they can keep it at the shut.
Question, do most of you reverse your top and bottom box? Now that they've pretty much all moved down there? in spring?
I usually do.
Once you go full on inspection.
Yeah,
The problem with reversing is if you picture the nest is in the middle of the hive. And you reverse it, then you've got this half moon of brood that you're gonna put down the very bottom. So you got a separation, you got brood down here, and then you got brood up here. And that can be a problem with.
So you don't
keeping your warm.
you don't take your bottom box and throw them back on top?
No,
Okay.
Oh, cause
but then I divide my house. So I take all the brood out of the box on 5 or 15.
Okay.
So they,
Well, that's when you split it on April 15th.
well,
You split every April 15th?
right, and I do that, so that's about what I need, and then that's when I can get queens too. If you're planning on doing their own requeen, then you better wait until in the May, because otherwise you get stormy weather, the queen will be able to mate if you lost.
So when you split your eggs, are you buying the queen and making the queen? In the
Buy
split?
queens. Don't be carry them, you buy queens.
I buy queens, yeah,
Yeah, okay.
I get them out of California. And that's all I
that's
have
why
to
you
do
can
there.
split on the 15th every year.
Yeah.
Buy some.
On the tour in California, the lady had a t-shirt and all it said was bees don't read books. And that's so.
Yeah.
Yeah, you beekeeper, I understand,
Yep.
but yeah, it's like, you can read all the books and, here we got a lot of different opinions and, and bees are just gonna do what they want. Okay, everybody got their oxalic acid sponges that Jerry made for us, and are you putting those in now, Jerry?
I haven't, because I need to have somebody help me when I break the hive open, I don't wanna pick it up and sit it over, so I haven't yet.
Okay.
So,
Give
I
me-
will do that.
Give me a call, I'm close.
Is that what you're doing, spend it rather than forming?
Yeah.
Right, so this time of year, it's a good,
Because usually,
the feds have said they aren't gonna control it, they aren't gonna,
yeah, we
they
usually,
aren't gonna tell you no on it.
we usually form it in the spring because it's very temperature sensitive and the weather's still cool. So as long as it never gets over 80 degrees, form it first year as well. And that'll actually penetrate the brood as well.
So over 80, it vaporizes too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
The sponging was very good, it's missing their, on the, stir. This is really eating up the boxes. What is that?
Between the top and bottom box.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of the two.
And put 2 sponges in there is what we've got set up. Reach out.
This is with the mustard. They're really mustard. So that's like they're minor, let's put them on your, they're going up and down, that's kind of. See.
Okay, so it's getting close to time to do inspections, clean your bottom board, looking for mites. Like I said, the inspectors will come out. But we still gotta kind of wait on to see when spring's gonna start. All depends on the weather, when we want to get into it.
Money on that seat.
Hey, we talked about the swarm capture traps. And if you're, you know, where people say you can either raise bees or raise honey. You know, and last year what I did with my bees is, I never split them, I just added boxes. And got a bunch of honey. So, you know, when they start maxing out, and I didn't have any swarm now. Before I had some swarm and there were a couple living with us at the time. And he was so proud because he said, your front door was attacked by bees and I got some spray to kill them all.
Yeah.
To kick them out?
No longer stand.
Yeah, he moved out soon after that. Okay, who checkerboards? Anybody checkerboard frames?
Just in super.
So, yeah, adding the box, and what I did the other day on Julie's crowded hive, I didn't have another box, so I flipped the checkerboard thing upside down, give them more space up there. Just to try to trick them.
We're gonna build co-op, so we gotta go check that.
So get ready.
We'll have a mess, we'll build up.
Yeah, candy corn frames gonna be a mess.
So you add a full size group? Oh, add a box.
And that's what I did last year. Once I did like 8 frames, I just added a box.
It's so heavy, I can't get in mine, and so, but there's so many bees.
Yeah.
Maybe I should just do that instead of looking for bees, so, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't get this.
They probably would, I mean, if there are 2 boxes full now, it wouldn't hurt them to add a 3rd box, right?
Yeah.
It might hurt.
Yeah, because hopefully it's warm enough now, they're not gonna freeze.
Yeah.
Well, they want to, in nature, they're gonna swarm, so you have to.
Yeah.
Control that.
Swarm for them.
Yeah.
By making the divide.
First that's queen cell.
Queen cell.
Yeah.
You go back, get on that.
So the other thing that I've heard is that if you see queen cells in the middle of your dome, that's the bees preparing to replace the queen.
Right.
If you see queen cells at the bottom of your frames, then that's an indication of swarms.
Upper left, swarm cells. Upper right. Supersedure.
Yeah.
And when you get into inspecting our hives later in the spring, summer, working with Richard Homer last year, because he's got like 800 hives, but you know, we're looking for eggs and everything. If we didn't see them, he would have a queen in a cage, and we'd just lay her on top of the hive. And if they came around, the bees came and tried to steam the cage, we knew there's a good queen in there somewhere, or they've already got a queen. If they just walk around on the cage and don't rear up and try to steam, then we knew to go ahead and put that queen in. And that's the first time I'd seen that, but it was kind of neat to watch. Okay, everybody knows all the parts that you need. Telescoping inner cover, the top cover, and of course there's different types. Jerry's got the one with the hole in it, if you've got bucket steam, and that's what I like. So in our packages, probably next month, we're gonna do a split when our bees come back, so we'll probably have, I don't know if we'll do that.
Yeah, we said we probably, if the weather stays pretty, we'll probably on a Saturday morning out here. I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you probably didn't notice, but you know, our bees used to be right out here. Under the trees and behind the 2 fences. We've moved them down here, behind the dumpsters. And that's because they never really got much morning sun here, so it took them a long time to kind of get to flying in the summer. And so we felt like they just really needed more sun. So Walt and Nicole came and cleared out that whole area over there, and then took all the, astroturf from over here and moved it over there, and then we have 3 living hives still. Back here, they're a little weak, but there's still 3 alive. And so we're gonna move them over here to the sun to hopefully get them, going pretty good pretty soon. But anyway, we'll have a split workshop where we'll show you how to split and maybe even different methods of splitting if we have to do several splits. Over here probably on a Saturday, so just watch the webpage and the Facebook page. We'll probably send an email too if we decide to do that. As soon as we get ready to split them, if we can get a good pretty day to do it.
Hey, Nicole's got a lot of resources for us, YouTube. And, you go on YouTube and pretty much search anything about bees, and you're gonna have a lot of videos come up.
Bob Benny does a good job. He's in the south, so it's different from us because of that. But he's good. And then Man Lake has their own, YouTube site now. And they've got different people presenting. And those have been good. I've been keeping up on those.
That's splitting a hive with Jerry Lynn.
Yeah, we got Jerry on our videos.
How's a really good one to install packages?
Yeah.
You will sign autographs if needed.
10 years old, yeah, I got the golden eye tool.
And clean your gloves.
So I think it's talking about for the health of the hive, you should clean your hive tool between hives, so you're not spreading disease between your hives. And then also clean your gloves. You can get like 10 hive tools for $20 on Amazon. I've just taken to keeping a hive tool or trying. Well, we'll tell on you, he's like, no, finish. I try to keep a hive tool for each hive, so that way I'm not digging around in the mulch and trying to figure out what I do with my hive tool. But yeah, you can get pretty cheap, good hive tools, on Amazon, and so it's almost easier to do that than it is try to clean it, I think, in between every, hive, but it's up to you. Swarms.
Now I can hear.
Okay. So, 2024, see that swarm? That swarm was in Provo. We got a call for that. I think that was in 2020 or 2021. It was like COVID time. And we got a beekeeper there right away. Just at, that's an apartment building behind there. Just as somebody was spraying down the woods.
Oh.
And it was huge. It was probably 6-7 feet long, just hanging in that tree like that. So, yeah, whenever they call the swarm line, I always tell them, they're like, oh, I have a swarm. I'm like, if it's in a public place, please go put up a sign, put a chair near it or something and say, please don't spray a beekeeper's on the way. Because people do the craziest things when they see them. They're so afraid of them. And so I usually try to get people to advocate and like stand out there with them if they can until, we get somebody there. If you want to be on the swarm catching list for this year, there is a Google form on the webpage and on the Facebook page. Just go out and fill out the Google form. The way that I assign swarms when people call is on the Google form, they'll tell me like what days and times you're available. So like if you work and you never want to call during the day, I'm not going to call you during the day. Now, I will tell you, if it gets to be busy and you want a swarm and you're home that day, if you call me that morning and you're like, hey, I'm around today, I got my stuff loaded up, I'd love to have a swarm, you'll probably be the first one I call if it's close to you. If it's not close to you, I'm not gonna call. But, and so that's what I do. I map everybody out that's on the swarm catcher list, and then when they call, I ask them their address, and then I look for the closest available beekeeper to go get that swarm. So you need to be available within like stuff packed and in the car, with the exception, I don't expect you to carry a ladder on top of your car all summer long. But you need to be able to load a ladder pretty quick if you need a ladder, right? So when they call, I'll call the closest, and actually I don't call, I text, because then if I call, everybody wants to chit chat for like 25 minutes. I found out the hard way that I'm not very good at that because I like to talk too. So I text and I'm like, there's a swarm near you, do you want it? And I don't tell you, the only thing I'll tell you is like, it's 10 feet up in a tree, building a ladder, it's under a bush, whatever. I'll tell you what kind of equipment you need to get to it, but I won't give you pictures of the size of it ahead of time because I don't have time to keep asking people who only want big swarms, right? I mean, you either want the swarm or you don't want the swarm. And the later the season goes, the smaller the swarms tend to get. So I will just tell you, the early spring swarms, the April swarms are usually huge. April, May swarms are usually pretty big. The later in the season, sometimes they're secondary swarms, or tertiary swarms, and so the swarms are a little bit smaller, but they'll always have a queen and they'll always have, quite a few bees in them. So, I'll text you, I'll be like, swarm near you, 6 feet up in a, pine tree or whatever, do you wanna go? And then you text me back, yes or no, and then I send you the address, and while I'm doing that, I'm asking the person who called to send me pictures. And so once I get the pictures back, then I send you the person's name, their phone number, their address, and the pictures. So you know exactly where you're going and you have the contact's phone number for who's gonna meet you there. That seems to be the way it works the best. I try to be really fair, so like, if we get a ton of swarms in Sugar House, and there's, not too many people in Sugar House, but there's a few people maybe in Taylorsville, and they can get there in 15 minutes, and I'll call those people too. I'm not gonna give all the swarms to one person. In other words, I try to be really fair with the people who are on the list. If you have time to go get it, and you're not an hour away, then I try to get everybody that wants to swarm a swarm. I don't take swarms ever unless I cannot get anybody to go on the swarm call. And that's usually Sunday mornings. But even then, I usually can find people to go. So, it really has mostly to do with, location and how quickly you can get there. So, do you wanna jump that forward?
So I'm kind of ask a question.
Yeah,
On that big, long, swarm, what would that queen be in that?
oh, who knows? Who knows?
Okay, so how would you capture something like?
So the other thing I will tell you is if it's this big, I'll tell you this is a 2 or 3 boxer. You
Right.
need to take enough boxes with a gigantic swarm. I will tell you that. And you don't know. I mean, she could be on a twig at the very top,
Right.
and these are all, or she could be somewhere else, but she landed there first. And so they all went there because they can smell her. And then she's crawled over, a limb away or something. Who knows?
What I do,
I was gonna say, I'd get a box up under it.
what I do for one like this, I have an old sheet that I carry in my truck. So, and we're looking at this, say this is 8 feet up. The way up in that sky's whole different. But what I would do is I would take and spread my sheet out. And then I have a cardboard box. That I have a window cut into it with a piece of cloth over it, so they don't smother. And then the top it opens. And then, I also have I'll make a little window in the side with a flap on it. And they only last me 3 years when I replace it, but, usually a box in the appliance or something came in is usually a stronger box. And then I would just cut that and lower it down in the box, then I close the lid down, leave that flap open. And the bees will go in and they'll cover it till they come in there, and they'll usually be covering the outside of the box. And then I take that sheet, I just fold it, fold it, fold it, fold it. Put it in the truck and go home.
So there's several things you can do. Some beekeepers like to take active bee boxes with them, with a solid bottom, so no entrance on the bottom, with a solid bottom board, a bee box with frames in it, and then a solid top, so they can't get out, right? And then a ratchet strap. And so once they go down into the box, then you can ratchet strap it together and carry it up. I find that really heavy and cumbersome, so I don't love it. So to his point, you can take like a diaper box, like a Costco diaper box, are great sturdy boxes. You just want to be sure and cut windows in it. I cut windows and put number 8 hardware cloth over them. You never want to seal the bees up without ventilation. When you're moving them after a swarm, they will die. They regurgitate their honey stomachs, and when they get stressed, and when they get in there, you will go home and you will have a wet, sopping mass of dead bees. That's what you'll have. So you have to have a box with some kind of ventilation. It can be a Rubbermaid tote that you cut holes in and put some screen in the tote. It doesn't have to be fancy, but I will tell you that if you put some frames of brood comb in the box to give them something to climb onto and everything, that they tend to like it better than just being dumped in a big old, pile in a box. But, that one, like he said, anything hanging from a tree, if you take your lopping shears with you, you can easily start at the top, might need a helper, but if you lop or a hand, trimmers, if you can get it and then just lower it down in the box, that's the best way to do it.
Trim off, if there'll be some limbs that'll be coming through it, so you trim off the outside, so that it ends up being just the.
Yeah.
And we
If
need
it's up high,
homeowner's permission.
yeah, so
Yeah.
before you cut anything, it's on you, before you cut anything, whether it's a shrub, a tree, whatever it is, ask the homeowner's permission before you cut their prize. And only trim is not enough to get the bees out, right? You don't need to cut like crazy amounts. The other thing is, if they're up high and you can't get to them, you can get on a step ladder, you can put the box. If you give that limb, if you can't cut, let's say they're on a thick limb and you can't get cut, right? If you give them a firm downward shake, that whole ball of bees will drop like a rock right down into the box. And I'll also put your sheet down on the ground because some of them won't make it into the box. And so that'll catch the ones. And then when you set your box back down on the ground, as long as you have the queen, all the bees will just march right into that box. And you'll know you have your queen because the bees will start to line up around the outside of the box. So the ones that are all still flying and trying to figure out what just happened to them, the ones that are in the box will line up on the edges of the box and they'll stick their little butts up in the air and they start fanning a pheromone to tell everybody the queen is there. And you'll know you have your queen because they're going to start, they'll just line up like in a circle around the edges of the box. It's so cool to watch. And they just start fanning their wings and then pretty soon all the bees are in the box with you. So it's fascinating to watch. Go ahead and go forward, let's see. Oh, so 2020 was the last really good swarm year we had. Because of the number of bees that I'm seeing online and people had really good overwintering this year, I'm thinking we're gonna have a good swarm year unless people are really good at splitting their hives. We had 225 swarm calls that year and 30 cutouts. I think that we probably always have more than we know about, but because of COVID, everybody was working from home and at home. That are normally out working during the day. And so they were like, there's a swarm in my area that normally may have landed and flown off before they ever got home from work, but because everybody was home during COVID, the phone was ringing nonstop. It was crazy. But it was fun. So, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and then always tell the homeowner that explain to them about what a swarm does.
Yeah.
The swarm leaves and it goes usually within 100 yards of where the hive was. And then they send out scouts. And when the scouts decide where they want to go, then they gather up and they leave. Well, when you take that swarm and put it in a box, all these scouts that are out are going to come back home. And you'll end up with a softball size of bees that were scouts that are coming back. And then the people panic. What am I going to do? You get a call to come back because the bees are still there. Well, you find that there's only just a handful. Tell them that they're going to be coming back, but within 2 days they'll be gone.
Yeah, I usually I ask my swarm people if it's close enough to your house, leave your box and it's not in a public place where somebody's going to drive by and steal it because they will. Leave your box there until dusk and then go back and close it up and then you can get all the scouts and everybody will be home. If it's far from you or something like that and you can't go back, I will call you the next day if there's a pretty large bundle of bees still in the tree because the homeowners freak out and they're like, I don't want to wait for these bees to go away. So
I see there's a lot, but it's only this.
Yeah, they'll be like, usually it's about, softball size that's left, but they do get kind of antsy. So, okay, keep going. Let's see.
We found that if you shake the majority of the bees into a box that's got root comb in it, you can actually get the queen to go into that box because those bees can start fanning and you can pull the queen in the nester. Because you can smell that root comb, she's almost instantly want to do it.
Yeah, that's a good point. So I encourage you guys to look up, there's a thing called a queen throne. And essentially it's a bucket on a pole with some brood comb or a brood frame in it. Or just a big piece of brood comb or a piece of foundation from brood comb that you've stuck in the bucket. And if it's really, really high up and you've got an extension pole, with a bucket that you've mounted to the end of your extension pole, you can just lean that pole up into the tree and just leave it there. And in about an hour, sometimes less, they will all have crawled into that bucket. And then you just bring your bucket down and put them in your box. You know?
It's the comb.
Huh?
What did you call that thing? Did you call it something?
You throw.
Oh, a queen from, yeah.
I forget what.
You can Google it. I forget somebody.
Somebody out of California, remember what, I have, my problem is that you get, I have it on a PVC pole. You know, it's a PVC pipe, and when you get up as high as this is.
That was the way. It does look this way. If anybody needs an extension pole, I mean, I keep an extension pole. I bought one of those. Huh?
It's like a fiberglass container.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, and it's like probably 90 feet or 40, I don't know, it's the longest one I could buy from Amazon. And so it extends like 3 times, so it's probably like 30 or 50 feet, but, and I have a mounted bucket for it, but the problem is it's gonna be in my house, right, so. Yeah, it's gonna take a while to get it, so, but I can show it to you if you wanna see what it looks like and you wanna build your own.
Question, how long, when the queen leaves the hive, are they gonna stay like that? An hour or so at the most?
It
Or
depends.
day, depends on.
Yeah, it depends. Sometimes I'll call people and they will stay 20 minutes, and when the final beekeeper gets there, somehow they've already found a new home and they're gone.
Are they making quite a racket at that?
No, nope. I mean, now when they're swarming, you could, that is like the whole air is just electrified. It's so amazing when they're in the air like that. No, they're very quiet.
I like this, of course.
Yeah, they're very quiet.
Very calm too.
And they're very calm because they don't have a hive to defend. So they've engorged themselves on honey before they leave the old hive so that they have enough resources to build a home in their new home. And so typically, because they're not defending a hive, they're very, very calm in the swarming state. Now, I'm not saying you're not gonna get stung. I went with somebody one year, and just as he shook the tree, I'm walking through the yard, and so they were flying. I didn't realize he was about to shake the tree. They were flying in my face, and so they hit me, and so when they hit me, then I got stung. But if I'd not been in the wrong place at the wrong time, I probably wouldn't have gotten stung, but they're not aggressively stinging. So,
Do you ever use a smoker or anything in doing this?
no, there's no
Leave the
need to.
smoker out, okay?
No, there's no need to smoke them.
We've got storms before where they've actually started building foam on the branch. So they've been there for a substantial amount.
Yeah, and you'll see that so let's say they swarmed, like, I wasn't here yesterday, but let's say yesterday was a beautiful 60-degree day and they swarmed, but then today turned really cold. And when you'll see them start to build foam is usually in a pine tree. Would you say that's right? In a pine tree? Because pine trees kind of, they're very dense and they make this nice little kind of, secluded place. And so if they get into a pine tree, they might stay there a little bit longer because there's nothing like blowing the tree, there's no rain coming in on them because the pine tree is so protected. And so that's usually when I see them the longest, if they're, way back inside a pine tree and they've been there a couple of days, like the weather may have turned and they can't go find a new home, the scouts can't get out, so they'll just go ahead and start building foam right there because they want that queen to start laying for them as soon as she can,
The cone building, that driving is so big, that they stay in work.
Yeah.
And then when they're full of honey, they're hanging there, the wax is gonna start coming out.
Yeah.
So when you catch a swarm, of course, that's the old queen they're taking with them.
Yep.
Do you replace her pretty quick or?
Sometimes. So what we usually try to do is replace the queen following.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I watch to see what her brood pattern is, and if she's got a good brood pattern, I just leave. But I will tell you, if you get a big swarm like this, like I had to go pick up a swarm 2 years ago, I think, and it was in it took forever to get this swarm, but it was in one of those low growing juniper bushes, but I mean, it was probably about an 8 or 9 foot juniper bush. And she was way back in there. And luckily the homeowner was like, pack it up, we don't care. So we just kept cutting and kept cutting. I think we took home 5 nuke boxes full of bees, but we couldn't get a queen. We were like, they just kept not wanting to stay. And we kept going over and over. Finally, at the very end, there was a brick down under this thing. And we had to get way back in there and it was covered in bees. And so when I picked up the brick, I didn't even look for it. I just picked up the brick and just moved it over to the top of the nuke box. And in seconds, they were all over these nuke boxes. I mean, it was crazy. But, So those bees had actually been there kind of a while because they had been protected and they were way back in there. And I think maybe the queen in that instance may have been injured because, they crawled across the grass. They didn't fly. He said they came in, landed in the grass and then crawled in under there. So I'm wondering if maybe the queen was injured, you know, when she was flying or something, and that's why they stayed, because, you know, she wasn't gonna be able to fly and get out of there, but, yeah, I mean, swarms are amazing, and if you don't want another hive, but you would like to go catch a swarm, let me know, because I can always pair you up with somebody just for the fun of going to watch a swarm catch. 'Cause it's-
Yeah, and if you've never caught one, it's one of the coolest things
Yeah.
you can do.
It really is.
So it's phenomenal. If you can watch some bees just marching to the hive, it's cool to see.
Yeah, it's really good. Okay, thanks, I don't think there's anything else.
Can you go back 2 slides?
Yeah.
Just there was a little more on that statistic.
Back in. No. This brings up
Yeah.
another thing, cutouts. Do we
So
only
if
use
you.
contractors?
So if you have a contractor's license, or, and I hate to say this, because I get grief for it. If you're an experienced contractor, but maybe you're not a licensed bonded insured contractor, but you are responsible and you're, like, I can trust you. So we get calls for cutouts, and that means the bees have moved from the swarming state into somebody's eave, or into their chimney, or, you know, into a wall or something. It almost always involves cutting out either drywall and then taking the bees out, scraping out all the comb, melting out all of the remnants of the comb, and then spraying like, Bee Gone or one of those, Fisher's Bee Quick or something in there so that they don't come back, and then putting the drywall back, sealing it back up, painting it, doing all that for the homeowner. We don't get involved in what you charge the homeowner at all. I tell the homeowner, I have a list of people that I can recommend that I know have done a good job, that I know, you know, we can trust, or that are licensed, you know, contractors. Your agreement is between you and them. That's as far as I go. But we always get cutout calls. We already had one this year, and, I sent somebody yesterday, I think he went today, just to go see like where they're coming in and out and see how much, you know, he thinks it's gonna cost the guy. So they're up in it's like, you know how you have a covered front porch and then you have a soffit, or what do you call it, a soffit or a fascia down below? And he said they've been there 3 years. So, yeah, so it's probably a pretty big hive up in there. And so, you know, I mean, you just have to be willing to be very conscientious, put it back, and that you have a good relationship with the homeowner. I would not do it without a written contract with the homeowner so that you get paid. And so that they don't come back and on you. You have to have some knowledge of construction. You don't want to cut into something. If you run into an electrical wire and cut that and, you know, burn their house down, you're gonna be in trouble. So, yes, we get cutouts, but, if you're interested in it, let me know. That's all I'll say.
I think you talked to everybody.
I'm sorry, yeah. Okay, must be due paid members, fill out the form, so I have all your information. And on that form tells me, like, do you want, you know, only low ones? Do you have a 50-foot ladder? Like what you are willing to do, basically. Like I said, if you want to swarm on a particular day, you're home and you're like, hey, I could take a swarm today, it's gonna be a beautiful day. If you text me, you're more likely to get a swarm that day. I'm just gonna be honest, if it's close to you. Call if the homeowner know you're on the way and how soon you'll be there. Remind them not to spray anything before you arrive. If it's in a public area, please cordon, I ask them to please cordon off the area and then put a sign out that says, don't spray, beekeepers on the way, and if they can keep an eye on it, then please keep an eye. Seems like in Sugar House, in this area, we get a lot of swarms in the park strips. And so people are constantly walking their dogs and stuff along there, so we try to, you know, really get, but they're also seem to be good people to watch them too, so, okay.
So when you got a swarm like this.
The best way to have a swarm like this is to take a brood comb and just lay it next to them, and they will crawl right up on it. And then put that or shake them into your box and then lay it back down there, and the rest of them will crawl right up on it, and just keep moving them. If anytime they're in a place where you can't shake them or cut them or drop them in, a frame is beautiful. When the bee truck wrecked on I-82 summers ago, they were all back in the sagebrush on the back side of the berm, and I mean, 10 feet by 20 feet full of bees. And we just got all of the wrecked boxes, as many of them as that were still in like decent shape. And we just laid the boxes on there with the most decent frames we could find, and they just kept crawling in. And then we'd get a box full, and we'd move it, put another box on top of them. So yeah, brood comb is the best way to catch them when they're on the ground.
How many of those they have queens in when you got finished?
Well, all of them we took had queens, so we got about 30 or 40.
So I catch a lot of swarms in the box. So what I would do is just set my box right on the speeds.
No problem.
So you just have 10 frame
Yep,
boxes.
or I may pick out a few frames.
Mhm.
But a lot of times I'll catch, like, I'll shake them into a cardboard box, like they're saying, then dump them into a 10 frame box, put the lid on, and then set it down on the sheet like they do, and then just stim on one shin. Just keep shaking the beast down onto that sheet in front of the hot and just march them.
Okay.
So, but that's what, in that situation, I just set my box
Right there. And they'll
right
just
there.
go in. Right, what's next? Remember you're representing the Wasatch Beekeepers Association. Please be courteous, respectful, kind, and helpful. Don't be mean. If another beekeeper shows up, because sometimes these people will call our club and they'll call Peter Summers at Bees Hives and Honey, and they'll call. If another beekeeper shows up and they're there first, just let them have it, and I'll get you another. I don't like it when, I mean, I've seen fist fights happen over swarms. I'm like, stop. Don't pedal in unless the property owner gives you permission to do so. Safety first. Don't undertake a job that is unsafe. Please do not climb trees, lean ladders on weak limbs. Remember, you assume all the risk for that. We don't have insurance. We're not insuring you. You're a volunteer. And so don't do anything you can't do. Like Jerry said, please do educate the people watching about the risk of being stung, but also the value of honeybees, the purpose of swarming. I mean, I had people go in there, can I help? And they went in the house and put on sweatpants and ski goggles. People are really interested in them, and so take advantage of that. I mean, encouraging education while you're doing it. Make it fun for everybody, you know, to watch you do it.
And then if you have a little bottle of honey.
Yeah, I usually take them a bottle of honey or something, or I'll take them, like if I have honey at home, you know, and after I get them, I'll come back and say, hey, thanks for saving the bees, and give them a bottle of honey. The best practice, leave the box return at dusk, so there aren't any leftover bees, because I will call you to go back and get them if the homeowner calls me and wants them gone. Keep your gear in your car ready to go. You need to be like 15 to 20 minutes of your call to catch your swarm. You know, if you tell me you're gonna go, please go. Like, I had a guy last year, the swarm's like 5 minutes from him, an hour and a half later. He went, and they were gone. And I'm like, oh, I thought you were going 5 minutes like later after it comes. But he got sidetracked. So if you get sidetracked, it's understandable. Just call me and say, hey, I'm not gonna get there after all, and I'll find the next person. Take photos. We love photos, especially now we have an Instagram page. Take photos and we will put them up on our social media and stuff. And we also use them at this slideshow at the end of the year. Oh, this is the one, I think I shared this last meeting. If you guys haven't seen this, Jim Osler and I got this call. And the lady kept saying it's running down the side of the building. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. And then she sent me this picture. I'm like, well, what? I think this is a video. See if this will play. Oh no, I guess not.
I got a swarm once that was on the side of the spaghetti bowl down 21st South from the very top overpass.
How'd you get it?
It was the railroad that called me.
Oh, was it?
And so I went down there and I said, well, I got a good way to get up there. So a couple minutes there came a truck with the
A bucket.
bucket.
We've had so
Great guy got in there and they wouldn't run to the ground, but they maybe get in with him.
Yeah. Yeah. We've had several calls at the conference center downtown, the Elliot's Conference Center and the Elliot's Temple downtown. We've had some calls down there that we had, and they provided the bucket truck for us to get out. This one was about a 8-story apartment building, not too far from here. I want to say it was like 21st South and I don't know what east it was, but anyway, we got there and there's literally honey running from the, and it had all these little decorative brick holes. Can you see, like up there? And we got there and it was literally running from the very top. So we thought maybe they were in the roof. It had a flat roof and we thought, well, maybe they were in something up there. But then we couldn't figure out, Jim went up there and there was just no access to get in anywhere, but literally honey was running from the very top all the way down the side of the building, then to this beam, and it came down and hit this steel beam, and then went down in the parking lot, and it was just a gigantic, it was probably 10 gallons of honey running off into the parking lot. And well, it was just a really hot day, so the only thing we can figure is that the brick heated up, you know, when the sun hit it and just melted all of the honeycomb, and then it just started running out, you know, down the building. But it was just the craziest thing I've ever seen. So, any other questions? Swarm capping is fun. Like, join us, it's like the best time ever.
Thank you.
Can't remember if my under was.
I don't know, to be honest, yeah, I need to look at it. I've been traveling for work for the last 3 weeks. I may need help if anybody like has time and wants to help answer this telephone. Trust me, crazy.
Julie gets every kind of feed call.
Oh, yeah, I
Not
don't just
just
get
phone
phone calls,
calls.
like I made a call to some of you that are here tonight, a lot of people call me and said, hey, where's the meeting, what's the meeting, tell me about this, tell me about that. But there, is there somebody here that wants to teach me in Indonesia? Is that anybody here? It was a guy, he called me yesterday, and I mean, I love talking to people, but sometimes I'm just like, but, he wants to teach beekeeping in Indonesia, so he wants to learn here before he goes to Indonesia, and so I said, come to our meeting. But yeah, I get all kinds of crazy calls, all kinds of crazy calls.
So you get, there's freebies in my swimming pool.
Yeah, so I get, am I not having beakers? I hate beakers. What's the law? Can you tell me the law? I mean, like, yeah, I get all the ugly people too, and I'm telling them, I'm like, you don't know that your neighbor's bees, they're likely, but unless they have little tags on them, you're 3 miles away. So I just encourage you, I do tell people, and so just as a beekeeper, put a water source out in your own yard, not smack in front of your hive, it needs to be like 50 feet from your hive, okay? You can put a little drop of lemongrass in it, it will help attract them to your own water source. But if you have a neighbor with a swimming pool or a hot tub, they are going to go there. There's practically nothing you can do to keep that from happening. My neighbor got upset, and then this year, Walt came over, we tore down all my dead outs, and we took the boxes to go be boiled in wax already, and the day we were bringing them back, I didn't see her, but I got a call from Draper City, and they said, we understand that you have a lot of bees, and your neighbor is calling because she said they're a nuisance, and this is January 31st. I said, well, they're a nuisance because it's winter, they all died except for one, and they haven't flown yet. So I think she saw all the boxes coming back to my house and thought I was gonna add all of these extra bees to my yard. And I mean, we probably took 30 boxes or more.
Let's just start a bee yard in your house.
Yeah, and she got really upset, and so, and I back up to the golf course there, the South Mountain Golf Course, and they have some property that backs up to my backyard that they don't take care of, so I've called the golf course, and I'm like, can I put bees out there? And they've let me, but then she reported me, and so this guy made me call the golf course and get it in writing that I could have bees on their property. It was just a mess. But I will tell you, for her, I bought a pint jar of peppermint oil spray last summer when she was complaining. And everybody that calls about, you know, their hot tub or their swimming pool, if they will just water it down, mix it up good, shake it up, put it in a spray bottle and spray the perimeter of the yard, but also spray like the lid of the hot tub, you know, around the concrete, around the bottom of the hot tub, it deters the honeybees from going into those areas. So, peppermint oil, yeah, it's not.
That's what they put in your bee feed stuff.
Yeah, some of the bee feed supplements have, I think, wintergreen and spearmint and lemongrass oil, lecithin, and some of those things. But peppermint tends to kind of, and it's not fail safe. I mean, I'm sure there's still a few that are like, it's cool water, I'm going over there. But also, I'm sure she had yellow jackets too. But it does kind of help deter any of the stinging creatures. So I just said, spray your pool deck down. Spray everything down, see if that works. And she didn't complain after that. That was 2 years ago, I guess. But then she saw the bee boxes. It was like, oh no. So just try to be a good neighbor, beekeeper, you know, keep your water source. If they complain, don't give in. Don't move your bees because your neighbor's complaining. You can figure out a way, and they can figure out a way to figure it out.
Check your local regulations.
Yeah, make sure you're within your local regulations. Like if you're in an HOA and the HOA says no bees, then you're stuck. But, most of us, and if they call me, I'm always very bee advocate. And now last year we had somebody that had some land smack in the middle of like either West Jordan or West Valley that hadn't been developed yet, but it was all like developed around it. But this commercial beekeeper had always used this plot of land for years as his kind of staging area when he comes back to make his packages and his nukes. But that was before the development went in. And so then he's dropping, how many was it, like 100 colonies smack in the middle of this development on this acre piece of land. And so I had to call that beekeeper and say, you're gonna have to find a new place to stay. Like, that's not fair to the neighbors to have that many colonies, you know, that close to a development. And we had multiple, I mean, I think they all got together and said, hey, call this phone number. So the phone rang for days about that. So I connected the landowner to the beekeeper to the HOA, and I'm like, work it out. So.
And Julie also mentioned, don't put the water right in front of the hive. When they're coming out of the hive, if they're pooping right in the water.
Yeah.
So send it to the side.
Bees need to get up to a height, I think, who said, somebody taught us last year, and I didn't actually realize this. When they come out of the hive and fly, they need to get up to a height of about 8 feet before they can actually see the ground. And so they're coming out and they're immediately going up to about 8 feet. So if the water's back here, they're not gonna know it's there. They might find it coming back in, but they're not gonna find it going probably. So really out from the hive.
And then
all
the whack-a-dance, they don't have a signal to. It's right here.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Too close together.
Yeah. So it's better out in your yards.
This is
Maybe-
also a good time to watch your bees do an orientation flights,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is way cool, where they're like flying backwards, looking at the hive. And then they'll start circling, and they're just trying to learn the hive before they become a fortress. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's really neat, and you'll see them come out there and they just go, they're
Yeah.
just looking at it. And that's why it's good if you know, of course, you're gonna have drifting that takes place anyway. But you can reduce that a little bit with different emblems on your different beehives, instead of having every box just a white box. Put a sticker on or paint something on it, and they'll be able to know that hive. And so less likely to drift.
It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah. But bees don't read books.
Yeah. So,
I've been beekeeping for about 12 years, and my joke is I've made every mistake you could possibly make.
Yeah.
But as many years as I've been doing it, I've only seen the queen twice.
It's hard to find.
Now, should I be concerned?
No.
I opened them all up last week, when it was about mid-60s.
You're at the age.
It was about 65 degrees where I was, and they were just all over the place, so I just opened them up. And I did kind of a visual inspection of most of the frames, and everything was fine, you know, they all went back in the box when it was all over with. But I only saw the queen in one of my 5 hives.
Yeah, she's really good at hiding, and I always say, if you can't, I don't look for the queen ever. I look for signs of the queen. So eggs, evidence of the queen in your hive. Eggs, and if you can't see eggs, you can get a magnifying glass to help see them. Or if you can't see eggs and you don't have a magnifying glass, look for very, very young larvae. So they'll look like just a little larvae that's like a 3-day-old larvae. It's just a teeny tiny little larvae. And you can see those much easier than we can see an egg. And if you see an evidence of a 3-day-old larvae, you know you've had a queen in there in the last 3 days. And I button them up. I don't go frame by frame. And I mean, when I was new, I did because I was so fast. But now, because you run the risk of killing your queen every time you pull out more frames, right?
Right.
So it's the first frame that I see with good evidence of, you know, eggs or young larvae. And she's got a good laying pattern, and I've got other frames, like maybe it's solid cap brood. I close them up, I quit looking.
And my eyes are good,
Mine are
So, you know, and I don't wear my reading glasses underneath my suit, because then I can't see far away and everything. So what I did is I've got one of those magnifying glasses that you can buy $8 on Amazon for reading books, that sits on your chest. It's got the little stand and a magnifying glass about
Like
that big.
ladies used to do like cross stitch and stuff, it
Yeah.
hangs over your shoulder.
It's on a lance, I just put it over my hood, and then when I pull a frame up, you know, I'll just flip it up and look at it that way. And then it just lays flat, and I'm not using it.
My passion in beekeeping is queen rearing, so I do define the queens, and the best trick I ever learned for it is, with every frame you take out, like train your eyes to go in a circle. So like every frame, you take it out and you start with the perimeter of the frame and like spiral in, just like teach your brain to do that. And because she's usually trying to get around the other side, and then when we flip it around towards you, same thing, we spiral in. It really helps find them.
You sell seeds.
Yep.
You
But
sell-
generally, they're gonna be toward the middle of the hive.
Um,